I'm Rick Lewis with Phenom Hoop Report. In today's segment of Coach's Corner, I have Coach Lauren Galvani from Independence High School. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I always refer to you as Coach Lauren, but the players at Independence call you Coach G. What's the significance behind that?
I think it was just easier and quicker for them to say Coach G instead of Coach Galvani, so it kind of stuck. And they're saying Coach Jeezy now, and I'm like, G's fine. So G is kind of stuck over the past few years.
So we need to refer to you as Coach G instead of Coach Lauren?
Yeah, that's fine. Coach
Okay.
G is good.
As the old saying goes, like father, like son, but in your situation, it's like father, like daughter. Your dad is a very popular and successful high school coach, Duane Lewis at North Mecklenburg High School. You've learned a lot over the years from Coach Duane, being his sidekick along the way. And I remember way back when I used to do my drills and skills camp at North Meck, you were always there participating in the drills and, for many, many years. Tell me what lessons you learned from your dad along the way.
On the court, I would say, he has a faster style of play, which is something that I've always tried to have my teams do as well. He's kind of done a really good job of establishing roles within his players, within his system that fit well with them. And that's something that I'm big on at Independence. So letting the players know kind of where I see them fitting in, and it kind of helps them out. So definitely establishing roles on the court, off the court. The biggest thing, and it's my biggest thing as a coach, is relationships with my players. And I think he does a really good job. And, he has players come back to games, and I'm not just talking state championship games, I'm saying throughout the year, so they're always wanting to come back to North Meck, and that's something that I take pride in as well. With any senior that graduates from playing Independence basketball, I want them to know that, I still care about them, and I want them to come back and watch the other teams play. So relationships for sure.
Well, growing up, you were in the gym constantly and, watching him coach. You were also, when you got into high school, you were out there participating and also practicing at times with the varsity boys. So you were actually your dad's biggest fan. Mm-hmm. What was it like in 2005 when your dad won his first state championship?
I mean, it was awesome just because I think I was in 6th or 7th grade. I think I was in 7th grade. And, at that time, I was a diehard North Meck fan. It was, after school, I'm going to North Meck to practice or watch them practice. On Friday nights, I'm bringing all my friends with me, and we're going to watch North Meck play. So I was just a huge fan at that point. And so whenever he won it, I felt like I won it. So it was awesome to see them win that. And, with Jamie Skeen, Ben Stywall, Jarmel, all those really good players. It was exciting for sure.
Now, in high school at North Meck, you played multiple sports. You played basketball, you played softball, you got a scholarship to play at the collegiate level. You went to Catawba for 2 years. What was the transition like for you as a high school player going to the collegiate level?
I mean, it's difficult for everybody, I think, in some sense, no matter what level you go play at. And you can ask anybody that's played any college sports, everybody's bigger, faster, stronger. So you hear it all the time. If you really love it, you'll work at it and you'll continue to get better. So it just kind of, coming from North Meck, and I was kind of a go-to player on that team, and could shoot it whenever I wanted to go into Catawba, and, she's putting me in my role, and which was good. I think it helps me as a coach as well. So it was different for sure. It's hard. It's not easy, but you figure it out. And throughout my career in college, I think I just got better, and I figured out how it worked. And to go from playing a few minutes as a freshman to earning some more minutes as a sophomore to starting as a junior and as a senior, you just buy into the process, and that's something that I try and teach my girls.
After 2 years at Catawba, you transferred to Lees-McRae. Let me ask you this, and I know you were playing at Lees-McRae. When did it enter your mind that you wanted to follow in your dad's footsteps and be a high school coach?
I think it was always in the back of my mind, just because that's the type of person I am as a player. I'm not bossy, but I'm helping people out there. So it's always been in the back of my mind. And I had a really good coach, Michelle Williams at Lees McRae, who was kind of my mentor, and just seeing how, she helped us not only on the court but off the court as well. That's kind of what kind of clicked in my mind with, I want to play, or I want to coach one day. So.
Well, after you finished playing at Lees McRae, you did a grad assistant position there as well. Mm-hmm. So that last year that you were at Lees McRae as a grad assistant, you were basically learning how to become a coach. Now, in 2015, you had an opportunity to get a coaching position at Independence. Okay, what was it like when you was first knew about the Independence job coming open, and when you was able to get that job as far as your first job right out of college?
I don't think many people wanted it, just because we weren't very good previously, like the years prior. We were on a pretty bad losing streak, and so I think that whenever the spot opened up and I knew I wanted to come back to Charlotte to coach somewhere, when that opened up, I just, I was excited about it. So like I said, I don't think many people wanted it, so it was just kind of there for me. I'm glad it was there for me.
At that time, Coach, Independence girls hadn't had a winning program in probably about 10 years. And when you basically got that job, Independence girls was in the midst of a 63-game losing streak. So your first year at Independence, you came into a situation you were like, wow, they've lost basically almost 63 games. That first season, you won one game. What went through your mind when you broke that losing streak at 63?
I mean, it was exciting. Things started to pay off a little bit. And, my dad had always told me, because I'm thinking as soon as I get there, you know what, it'll take us maybe 2 or 3 games, but then we're going to win, and we're going to win at least 10 games that first year. So, my dad kind of, it's going to be a process. So he had to tell me that. And once we finally got there, it's just like, it's addicting. So, once you get one, others will come. So we got that first one, and it was really exciting because some of the seniors on the team, they hadn't won their whole high school career. So they were excited. I was excited, and we just built on that.
Well, Coach, in your 5 years at Independence, you turned that program completely around. Your second year at Independence, you went from winning 1 game, breaking a 63-game losing streak, to winning 8 games. That was a major jump. And then your third season, y'all had your first winning season in over 10 years. You went 13-12. And then your fourth season, you got back into double-digit wins. But let's talk about this last season. This is your 5th season, and you've had time to change the culture at Independence, put your stamp on the program. You went 21-8, 10-4 in the conference. What are some of the things that contribute to the success that you've had in such a short period of time at a high school where you're just basically at the public school level, just dependent on the players that are within the school system?
Right. I think that, throughout the 5 years, you kind of you're preaching whatever is important to you as a coach, and, hoping that the girls buy in. And our girls bought in, and they worked really hard. And I'm a gym rat to begin with. So anytime they wanted to get in the gym, I'm getting in the gym with them. And I think that's just what Independence needed. I think that they just needed somebody that's going to get in there, care for them, put in the work with them, coach them hard, but, make memories along the way. And I think that, the reason that we were so successful this year is because our seniors were, they got a little taste of it their freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and they're like, we're going out with a bang. So I think that the girls really have bought in.
Well, the other thing that you do is you still have game. So I'm sure there's plenty of times you can go out there and play with them.
Oh,
so
yeah.
When the players on the team can see that you play and how well you play, they go, she has game. So it probably adds a little bit of confidence that you know what you're talking about as a coach because you can actually play. Mm-hmm. I know that during that 5-year period, you had some ups and downs. What was the most difficult lesson you learned along the way in those 5 years?
Probably just being patient with everything, because I'm not a patient person. because, you know, my dad's Duane Lewis and he's not patient at all either. So I'm not a patient person to begin with. But just kind of trust in the process. And, you know, you hear that a lot, but we tried to create our own process and at our own timeline. And so that was the main thing for me, is just being patient through everything, and everything's going to work out. And, you know, our hard work, it is going to pay off at some point, and it eventually has.
Well, you mentioned that one similarity between you and your dad as far as not having patience. Give us some other similarities between you and your dad.
We're both pretty competitive, very competitive, I would say. I think that, I don't know what people think of him, but they probably see him as uptight a lot, and I can be that way too. So I see us both as being uptight, but then, you know, there's times where we're just pretty laid back. So I think that we're similar in that. Like, I'm pretty laid back from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then once you know, we're about to practice or have a game or something like that, then I'm getting ready to go. And I think that's how he is too.
How often do y'all have conversations where you critique each other's coaching ability from the sidelines?
He didn't get to see as many games as I got to see of his, just because, you know, with us playing before, usually after we would play a game, I'm rushing over to North Meck if I can, just to watch them play. And after those games, you know, we'll go out to eat and kind of talk about the game. So we talk very often. And he got to see, I would say he saw maybe 5 or 6 of my games this year, maybe a little bit more. And, you know, he just gives me some insight to what he sees on the sideline and what could maybe work out, and things like that. I know I had to send him some film this year on my team, just to get his perspective on what he thought about, I think it was a defense or something. But, you know, he helps me out a lot. So we talk very often.
Your dad has been one of the most successful high school coaches in the Charlotte area. The one thing that's always impressed me about your dad is the passion that he has for North Meck. I mean, he graduated from North Meck, he played there, and that's his dream job.
Right.
What was it like for you to see your dad get a chance to go back and play for a state championship this year, and also with the COVID-19 be co-champions? What did it mean to you, and what do you think it meant to him as a coach?
For me, you know, it was just awesome to see that, because they've been consistently good. I think every year in between 2005 and now, they've been very consistently good in Charlotte. So for them to make it all the way, I was very excited for them. You know, unfortunately, with the COVID happening, you know, there's nothing you can control about that. But I know that the thing that I really thought about that was different and awesome, I think, was two of his coaches that are with him now, Ben Stywall and Jarmel Baxter. They were on that championship team 15 years ago, which I think that's, you know, you don't see that a whole lot. So yeah, it was big for him, and, you know, I was pumped too.
Well, your dad is what's great about high school basketball. And when I think of North Meck, everybody's going to think of Duane Lewis. And, you know, one of these days, I think they need to also put Duane Lewis's name on the court at North Meck, because to me, when I think of North Meck today, I think of your dad as far as the consistency he's had over the years is maintaining one of the most successful programs in the state of North Carolina. Now, let's talk about your team a little bit. You went 21-8. One of the most important things as a coach is to see your seniors go to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about your seniors, the leadership they had, and tell where they're going to play at the collegiate level.
Well, first things, you know, at the beginning of the year, after we have tryouts and everybody's made the team, my main thing that I sit down with them for like 2 hours. They probably think I talk a little too much, but I let them know what I see us doing throughout the season. I let them know what is important to me as a coach and what I want to happen. And one thing that it's always been is, you know, I want them to get better throughout the year. I want them to have a lot of fun, make memories, win some games. And the main thing is, as they're a senior, I want them to have the opportunity to play college basketball. You know, even if they don't want to, I want them to be at that level to potentially get recruited to go somewhere. So that's something that's really important for me. And to have 4 seniors this year get to go play at the next level is huge. I had 6 seniors. One is going to go to the Army. She's gotten to her dream school. She's going to Carolina, and she loves basketball. And I think that she could have played at the next level, but she wants to go to Carolina. And so we're trying to hook her up with the women's basketball team, trying to be a manager. And with the other 4 that are going to play, Trinity Thompson, she's going to play for Heather Macy at Spartanburg Methodist. Ayanna Anderson, she's going to Cape Fear, which is huge for her. And then I had sisters, the Barino sisters. They're going to Catawba Valley. So they're all going to the junior college level. I know that they're going to be pushed to new heights over the next year, and hopefully after 1 or 2 years they're going to another school to play. So it's very important to me that they get to play at the next level.
Well, this past year you went 21-8, and it was the first time that Independence girls has been to the state playoffs in probably 10 years. And you also won a game. Now, although you lost some seniors along the way, you have 3 key players returning. Mm-hmm. Talk about those players and what they mean to you in the program, and what do you expect out of the team moving forward in this coming year?
With those 3 juniors returning, well, they'll be seniors. Avery DeBenedetto, Gracie Breckenridge, and Braylon Milton. With Avery, she's quick. She's deceptively quick. She kind of reminds me of me when I was playing. She has a little spunk about her, and she has a motor like no other. And with those 3, I think that they're all 3 college basketball players, which is good. Avery, she kind of brings that for us. Gracie, she's big 6'2", shot blocker, and she loves blocking shots and getting rebounds, and that's her main thing. And that's something that's kind of stood out in my mind with her. I think it was her sophomore year. I think we were putting a play in for her or something, and she's just like, okay, but I'm worried about blocking shots and getting rebounds, and I'm like, I love it. So I think with those 2, it already puts us in a position to be successful next year. With Braylon, I've coached her 3 years, and she's good. She's a very good player. She's an even better leader. And I was even talking. She's starting to figure out where she wants to go to school, and she's narrowing things down. Those 21s, they're starting to figure it out. And I was actually talking with her yesterday, probably getting emotional and about to cry on the phone, just because over the 3 years, it's just kind of like it's gone by quick, and you can't believe it. But I'm excited for these 3, and I think that they're going to be able to lead us to another successful season for sure.
Coach, what are your goals and expectations for the upcoming season?
I think that, now that we've crossed the point of making it to the top 4 in the conference, because our conference is pretty tough. I think that, with us finishing top 3 or 4 in the conference this past season, I think that that's an expectation now. I expect that. I expect us to make the playoffs every year now. Once you get, just like 5 years ago, whenever we get 1 win, they're going to come. So whenever we finish top 3 in the conference, I expect to do it every year after that. I expect to make the playoffs every year. But with those 3 and whoever else, if we have any young ones come in from the middle schools, I don't really know. But I think that we can finish top 3 again in the conference and make some noise in the playoffs.
How would you describe a Coach G team?
I would like a team of kids that, just want to get better, and they're constantly trying to get in the gym, and that's just how I am as a coach. Or I get very bored if it's very rare that I don't have someone getting in the gym in the mornings before school or something like that. I like getting in the gym, so I love to coach players that just want to get better. And I'd love to coach a really fast team, quick paced. And that's something that I'm going to try and get towards with me as a coach, trying to practice that a little bit more. That would be my team. A lot of hard workers and kids that want to be out there.
So your team would be very similar to the way your dad coaches North Meck. You like that fast pace?
I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get there. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Who's more competitive, you or your dad?
Probably my dad. And if he's a 10, I'm a 9. But he might be a little bit more competitive than me.
if you guys were playing a game of horse, who would win?
I would win, but the way that this would go, I would win the game of horse. He would say, well, let's play again. I'd probably beat him again, and then he would somehow work it out to where he gets to practice for a week, and then we come back and play again, and then he would probably beat me.
Is your dad the most competitive player or person you've ever known?
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Hates to lose.
Yes. Hates to lose.
I would agree.
Right. Yeah. I mean, with, you hear that he's eased up a little bit as a coach just because, I don't know, maybe he's gotten older. I don't know. But he has eased up a little bit, but he's still very competitive. I just know that 15 years ago, 10 years ago, those kids, they used to catch it a little bit. He used to definitely be fiery and competitive. So that's something I definitely remember.
In 5 short years as a head coach at Independence, what's the greatest moment you've had?
I mean, we've made a lot of memories along the way. I would say on the court, it's beating, teams that we've never beat before. And we did that multiple times this year, which those were huge for us just because now that, we've beat Hickory Ridge and Myers Park for the first time in I don't know how long, now it's going to be the norm. Now I want to do it again next year, and I want to do it every single time we play them. So just beating teams that we hadn't beat before. And then obviously whenever those 4 seniors decided to play at the next level, that was pretty big too.
Well, Coach, you're very special to me because I've known you since you were in middle school, and you used to come to the gym to our drills and skills camps every Sunday. And I can remember you working out with the guys and the amount of work that you put into it. Your work ethic was always very impressive. You never shied away or backed away. You never were intimidated by the boys. And to me, what you've done at Independence is no surprise because I see your dad in you, which is a compliment because I think your dad is just a tremendous basketball coach. And I see the same thing in you. And what you've done in 5 short years of Independence is truly remarkable. And just think about it. When you first got there, they were in the midst of a 63-game losing streak. You turned it around, and in your 5th year, you went 21-8. And I think that's the passion, and talks also about how competitive you are as a person and as a coach. And I only see great things for you, and I do think you're going to etch your name in as one of the best coaches in Charlotte, just like your dad.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I want to say thank you for coming on today. I appreciate it, and we want to wish you good luck, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.